All right, welcome back to the Attack the Rack YouTube channel. This is the Attack the Rack podcast with myself and Big Mo. We come to you every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. with the podcast. Don't forget, during the week, we've got our Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday daily shows. We call those the daily lineup, where we talk about the hottest top 3 to 5 topics in the world of sports. Again, that's every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday at 7 p.m. And then Friday mornings, I have a quick live show, 7 a.m. And then obviously Saturday mornings, you're watching this now, the podcast, 9 a.m. And then Sunday at 9 a.m., we've got our NFL pick show with our expert pickers, Chad Zagar and Peter Hunsberger. And then coming right back at 10 a.m. on Sunday, we've got Peter coming back as Prop Bet Pete, giving us 3 prop bets for the day of NFL football. This episode, we've got another interview. This is a very special guest, Miles Balley. He is a former athlete at Granville High School, played for Coach Klingler as a head coach, myself as an assistant coach, basketball that is. So we got to know Miles quite well back in his high school years. He is now making a splash in the country music scene, and he will be back performing at Granville High School before the homecoming game. Big Mo, what's the date on that? Friday the 27th, correct?
7th, yes, 27th.
Okay. Yep. Friday the 27th. So we've got that really great interview coming up with Miles later in the program here.
Every family party or social event needs something special. Bubba's Bounce House Rentals, LLC can do that for you. They provide inflatable bounce houses and water slides on top of great service in the West Michigan Lakeshore area. Call Bounce Master Sam at 616-485-0257 today and mention Attack the Rack to get $25 off your next rental. Also, find Bubba's Bounce House Rentals, LLC on Facebook. Bubba's Bounce House Rentals. All we rent is fun.
All right. Hey, Big Mo, we've got Indiana Fever tonight. We are recording this on Thursday, just to be transparent with all of our viewers. It is Thursday today. Tonight, Indiana Fever, last regular season game of the year. I believe their record currently is at 20-19. So they need a win to finish above 500. A loss would put them at 500. Big Mo, this has actually been quite a hot topic for us on the YouTube channel, the Attack the Rack YouTube channel this summer. Not only has Caitlin Clark taken the WNBA to new heights never seen before, she has also lifted up our YouTube channel to heights never seen before.
Thanks. Thanks, Caitlin. Thanks.
Just giving us a good topic for the summer, because there's not a lot besides Major League Baseball going on during the summer. So she and the Indiana Fever provided us some good content to talk about over the course of the summer. Big Mo, and
the WNBA, give them a little bit of their due respect, Curt.
Well,
and the rest of the WNBA.
All I'm saying is that we just talked about Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, we've added some other individuals into that mix. I'm not going to leave them all out to dry.
Yeah, I don't know, Big Mo. I think we pretty much we talked about the other teams and the other players when they played against the Indiana.
It doesn't matter when we did it. We did it, Curt.
We did. So anyway, as their regular season comes to an end here tonight, Big Mo, overall synopsis of, Caitlin Clark, Indiana Fever, kind of what you're thinking, what your thoughts are on that season, and maybe a little bit, maybe a little bit like from, I don't, you go first.
Well, I just think it's interesting basketball. It's a different type of game. I think all the stuff behind the scenes of the WNBA growing during this period has been interesting to watch. So I think that's made the Fever interesting to watch, and it's been fun to see their change a little bit. Again, I think some of this is scheduling change. I think we could see that the way they struggled early on, and Caitlin struggled a little bit. but their growth as a team. And I think going into the playoffs, I think if they want to really play well, it's going to be probably dependent upon Caitlin Clark playing well, keeping the turnovers low. I think if she can figure that out, they can really maybe upset a team or two, and it might really pack a punch to the televised game and the TV stuff and all that. If they can win a couple series before they get knocked out.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see what happens. If they were to get knocked out, then what the ratings would look like when you have the playoffs continuing on without the Indiana Fever. Because certainly the Indiana Fever games are getting significantly higher ratings than all the other games. Attendance at the Indiana Fever games, whether home or away, significantly higher than games not involving Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever. I've really enjoyed Big Mo, not just watching her and the Fever play this summer, but also just like the conversations we've had on and off air about it. We watched some of the games together. I probably, going into the season, I couldn't probably have named necessarily, I probably had heard of the Los Angeles Sparks, but I probably couldn't have told you they were called the Sparks. I couldn't have told you what cities teams were in. I couldn't have told you what their team mascots were. I couldn't have told you what an Asia Wilson was, what a Napisa Callejas was. I think I probably have only heard of Brianna Stewart going into this season. And admittedly so, I really didn't watch any other games other than the Indiana Fever, but just from watching them, got to see all the other good players and good teams in the league. Sometimes the basketball is a little bit suspect. You do see the missed layups, you do see the silly turnovers, some of the mental breakdowns on defense that we've talked about, air balls, things like that. But one thing that I just really love about watching Caitlin Clark is the pace that she plays at, the space that the Fever play with, the way the ball moves. I love watching her in transition, getting the ball up the floor with the pass, not so much pounding the ball like you see in the NBA and even in college basketball. Now there's so much dribbling. And one thing I like about the Fever is they're not quite to that extreme of just bounce, 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 bounce. There's a lot of ball movement, a lot of passing. You look like
Yeah, I think if you watch any of the games, and if you ever catch a different playoff game here as they start here, Curt, there isn't a ton of that bounce, really in the WNBA as compared to the NBA. There's probably more ball screen stuff happening and things like that. I think it's a different game, and I think people do need to remember that. Like, we could say, hey, miss layups, they shoot some air balls that you're not as accustomed to seeing in the men's game. But I think if you looked at like some of this, I always thought maybe they didn't shoot it quite as well, and they might not. I don't know the stats off looking at the top of my head. But as I watch more games, at least with the Fever especially, they make a ton of shots, but when they do miss, it seems to be they're exaggerated misses. But I'm not sure it's any more or less or that much less or more than the men's game. But they do. It's a different game, so I think we've got to remember that as viewers. But it can still be a nice, an interesting evening to spend watching a game. Just again, I've watched more WNBA games than I definitely have NBA regular season games over the last probably 3-4 years.
Oh, I would say for me, longer. Back to once the Pistons stopped, being in the playoffs. I couldn't tell you how few NBA games. I would say I've watched more. And again, I've really only watched the Fever games, truth be told. But they played tonight. It'll be their 40th game. I think I kind of eased into it at the beginning of the season. Maybe not. And NBA playoffs were still going on then, which I tried to get myself to watch just because, for our sports media company here.
Yeah.
Uh, so I guess I did watch a little bit more NBA playoffs this spring just because of, and really, and actually that's not even true because the NBA season ended before we started up on July 1, getting back into
I can do it.
the Attack the Rack Sports Media Company. So really, I do feel like I didn't necessarily watch maybe the first few games or at least in their entirety, but I would say by game 4 or 5, I was hooked and I've watched every single game, and that's way more games than NBA games I've watched since the last time the Pistons were in the playoffs.
Yeah. I think it's just, like I said, it's just such a different game. I think to an NBA game, you watch these incredible athletes and they make such great individual plays uh, for the most part. And that's what you're breaking down. And it's a lot of individual talented players that make amazing shots. Um, and I think the women's game is a little bit of a throwback. I
Yeah, I
mentioned that
agree.
the other night.
Yep.
It's a little bit more of a throwback type game, and which is sometimes a little more enjoyable to watch for, at least for me.
Yeah. And you did mention too, like how well they do shoot it. And, when they miss a lot of times, maybe it's a bad miss, an air ball or an all backboard but, and again, I'm not looking at any stats right now either, but just from the eye test, from watching the games, I'd be surprised if at least the percentage of made threes is not similar to that of the men's game. It seems like
Maybe
they
we get
shoot it.
producer Dale to check that out for us.
Yeah, yeah. Producer Dale, get on
He's
that.
probably not doing anything to help the show anyway.
No, he's had another long week. You know,
Nice.
we had to.
Haven't we all? Haven't we all?
Well, I mean, yesterday we recorded our daily lineup show, and then last night we had to record the NFL pick show. So he's, whining about that. It's too late at night, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So.
Got to earn your keep, son. Got to earn your keep.
But yeah, they do shoot. And not just the Fever. I mean, the Fever certainly. I think 3 points made. They've got to be one of the top teams in the league, if not number one. But the other teams too. It seems like they never miss 3-pointers. But yeah, as we
It
mentioned,
might be because of the Fever's defense.
yeah,
Let's be honest.
that's one thing. The Fever we talked about at the beginning of the season a lot was how poor they were on defense, how poor of a defender Caitlin Clark is, and then team defensive wise, not great. But they have gotten better at that. But you can still see they have lapses where I don't know if it's an effort thing or what, but they get lost in rotations. They don't get a hand up on a shooter and things like that, and it just kills them. So.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and that's got to for them to obviously win some more games. I think that's another key component. Can they defend a little bit better, a little more focused for the entirety of the game?
Yeah, and I think we both agree Caitlin Clark, Rookie of the Year, hands down, should be unanimous.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I don't think anybody's real. I hope nobody's really arguing that case anymore.
I don't think they really are anymore.
I mean, it was good. It was good rhetoric. It was good discussion. Again, shout out to Angel Reese. Hey, um, you know, possibility tonight that Wilson maybe grabs like 12 or 13 boards to break her record that she set for rebounds this year. But it made the race. It made great conversation, great arguments back and forth. But I think it's a pretty easy decision. Rookie of the Year, CC.
Yeah. And you brought up Asia Wilson, clear cut, probably MVP. I think, you kind of at the break when they had the Olympic break, you were predicting an MVP like second half of the season out of Caitlin Clark. I think we did see that. But Asia Wilson didn't necessarily fall off at all. And so she's kind of in the clear cut from the beginning of the season. Maybe if Caitlin Clark had played the way that she played since the break from game 1, we maybe would have a interesting discussion on the MVP. But I think clearly that's Asia Wilson.
Yeah, I think Asia's definitely got that. I do think Collier from Minnesota. I've happened to. I mean, obviously I've caught in the Fever games with her. I think she's phenomenal. Like, again, a big body, like a taller body, lanky, can play like multiple positions. I think she'll be a tough out in the playoffs for him. So I don't know if I put Caitlin above her yet. I think she had an amazing second half as well.
She did. I think she was
But
injured for some games
the
in the
beginning
first.
part,
That was
yeah,
because the Fever beat them. That's the Minnesota Lynx without her, and then they were not able to beat her with her. No, she's a great player too. And again, I've only watched her play a couple times against the Fever. The other name I want to throw out there is Brianna Stewart. I've seen her play obviously against the Fever as well. I would put her ahead of Collier. I think she's just got a little bit more of a smoothness and a fluidness to her game that you do see with also I feel like with Asia Wilson and certainly with Caitlin Clark. So I'd probably put Brianna Stewart a little bit ahead of Collier. But I'm just talking about overall, top players in the league. I do think after Asia Wilson, the next MVP, I would give to Caitlin Clark. I think, if you, depending on how you define MVP, if you define it as it says most valuable player, I think you remove Caitlin Clark from the MVP or from the Indiana Fever, and they're struggling to get maybe even 5 or 6 wins on the season. That's how they've been without her. Whereas even with Asia Wilson, you take her off that roster, they still got 3 Olympic players, and they're probably still pretty good.
yeah. No, like I said, I think I'd go probably Collier second, Stewart in that group, but I think I mean the Lynx have beat the Fever
They beat them
every
every
other
time
time.
with
Yeah,
Collier, and without Collier, they did not beat the Fever.
and I think in the second half, Minnesota beat the Aces twice as well.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah,
They're
so
they're they're a great defensive team, maybe the
they
best.
are, they are. Well, again, they can play a little bit smaller because of Collier. So I think that's a huge advantage defensively to have that extra, that kind of that 3-4 position, four player that can like guard a little bit more, guard a quick and a big. Um, so yeah, I'm sticking with again. I think Caitlin's definitely in the should be talked about because her season has been one of the best. I think when you can lead the league in assists, do what you do scoring wise, she changes the pace of the game. So I think that's a huge component that you can actually that one player changes the the momentum of the game sometimes. Now, and I still don't think she's played her best. So
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you. I don't think she has played her best. And the other, feather in her cap is just, the cliche of making teammates better. She's obviously given Aaliyah Boston so many more easy scoring opportunities. I think because of the focus on her, that's allowed Kelsey Mitchell to get, not that Kelsey Mitchell wasn't a good scorer or a good shooter before, but I mean, she's had how
this
many
is
25,
this
30
is
games.
so I think she's shooting the best percentage of her career. I think
Yeah.
and it's not by much, like 2 or 3%, but both those players are actually having very identical years. And I think they're better in a bunch of different little categories. But that's still a tribute. I think she's helped Lexi Hall become a better player, and even some of those other starters and the bench players have all played some type of role that has been um, allowed that role to be more defined because of Clark.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, let's look at this as a different way here.
Yeah.
And then we'll get to our interview with Miles. Let's say, okay, we both agree Asia Wilson MVP, but let's look at it a different way. What if the WNBA was to start from scratch right now? All the players are in a pool, and everyone, we're going to draft all new teams. Number 1 pick, you got the number 1 pick. Who are you taking?
To me, simple, easy question to answer. Asia Wilson.
And why?
I think, I mean, watching her, like, she's almost unstoppable. Like, and I think, again, I bring back the point of, like, it's a little bit of a throwback game. So having the most dominant player on the floor, post player who can give you, she scores all over the floor, 15 feet and in easy. And she controls the glass. And she's a defensive, like, stopper. Like,
Yeah.
I think she's leading the league, maybe close to blocks. Um, so I think those three things elevates her. If I had to start a team right now, well, I'm going Asia Wilson.
I would lean more towards Caitlin Clark just because I think the point guard position is probably the most important position on the floor. And when you've got a point guard like her who's so much better than everybody else, I would probably lean towards her. Um, you know, if I was going to build a team around somebody, I'd want to be only because of how good she is. I'm not saying you have to build a team around a point guard, but I do think it is, pretty much probably the most important position. And when you have such an elite player like her at point, I would build my team around her. A lot of it has to do with just her ability to find people and put them in good positions to score. So I'd probably go number one pick. I'd probably go Caitlin Clark. And if not Caitlin Clark, then yeah, I would go Asia Wilson. I would.
Don't try to backtrack and say talk about my girl Asia. I think when you
But I
can
would.
throw it inside and
I was just
you
saying.
can throw it inside and create double teams, like, I think that's, like, she could end up, like, if she ever wanted to, probably. I don't know what her assist average is now, but like, you have to double team her, otherwise she's going to
Score.
she's going to go out and get 30, 35.
Yeah. But in my opinion, those would be the first two. I'd go Caitlin Clark number one, Asia Wilson number two. I think it's still debatable. Is Caitlin Clark? I mean, you could argue that she's the best player in the league. You could argue that she's the second best player behind Asia Wilson. In my opinion, she's definitely one or two. I think. Well, not necessarily.
Yeah, I think, as
But
we talk about this more, I get a little more worried, and I think about, she's obviously changed the game, like, not only the basketball and the way it's played for the Fever, um, but obviously just the viewership and the fans and all that. But I think, if you were trying to really build a team that was going to go win, is her defensive liability too much? I think the turnover stuff will come with some age. Obviously, we still have to remember she is a rookie,
right.
and she's having one of the, if not one of, if not the most outstanding rookie season for a WNBA player. And obviously, that's always tough to tell now because they do play more games than they did. I think back when Candace Parker won the Rookie of the Year and the MVP.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
I'll see if I can fact check that.
Are we
But
producer Dale on that?
Yeah, I don't want him to work extra. He'll probably file a complaint against us. But yeah. So I obviously I don't think you could go wrong with either one, right? Both of them are going to have still outstanding long careers. I just think sometimes it's easier if you can, like, almost like just how dominant a post player was 10 years ago in the WNBA, 15 years ago. I think that's where the game is still a little different in the women's side, and I think a dominant post player still gives you the ability to be really good no matter what.
Yeah. No, and you brought up the turnover thing. Last thing, I mean, we're talking a lot longer than we had planned on this, but here's the crazy thing is that we like talking about it. I mean,
yeah,
talk about it off air all the time. And the crazy thing too is, could you even think back a year ago? Could you ever imagine a year later we'd be sitting here talking so much WNBA basketball?
Probably not, but I will say, like, I had the opportunity last year to watch Paige Becker's play and Caitlin Clark play, and both times, and I was like, just kind of like almost amazed at how good the basketball was. So yes, I definitely didn't think we'd be talking about it 8 months later. as much as we are. But I'll tell you, I mean, it's interesting to watch because I think even for from a coaching standpoint, it's the same game, but it's definitely got some twists and they do some things differently. Um, and again, as it grows, I think you start to watch some other games, you'll see some of those differences even more pronounced.
Okay.
Because I don't know if the Fever, they do some things differently defensively that I question, but I think overall it's interesting to watch because it's something different, but it's still basketball, which we love.
Right. No, the only thing I just wanted to mention, we brought up the turnover thing with Caitlin Clark. Obviously, way too many turnovers. Some of them certainly are silly, but she does take a lot of risks, and I think the rewards outweigh the risk on a lot of those passes. She also has a couple here or there too, where she hits her teammate right in the hands and they fumble it out of bounds. So she probably, I think her turnover number is a little bit more inflated than what maybe is realistic. And then the other thing too is she's averaging 8-9 assists a game, and she's got a couple every game where she'll have an easy assist where her teammate will miss the layup. So I mean, she could literally be averaging a double-double as well with assists.
But I also think that comes. I'm going to be devil's advocate in the sense that Kelsey Mitchell and Boston have probably Kelsey makes some tough shots, which probably allows Caitlin to get 1 or 2 assists a night that maybe normally wouldn't count. And obviously, you can throw it into Boston once in a while. So, devil's advocate that it maybe weighs out. But I do think the most interesting part of all that might be on Caitlin's passes is you see some of the other Fever players attempting some of these other things where maybe they didn't do it at the beginning of the year, and I wonder how much some of that has rubbed off. They see some things or they try some things, and maybe it doesn't always go as planned. Yeah. But it's interesting that it's kind of evolved a little bit. Her passing has kind of changed some of the other players' games.
Yeah, that's interesting you bring that up because I've heard that too from other people that have watched a lot of the Fever games too. They mentioned that as well. So, but anyway, hey, I know everyone's on here probably waiting for us to get to this interview with Miles.
Maybe cut these in 2 here, Kurt. I think we went too long.
Well, for everyone watching too, we will probably I'll wait until next Thursday, the day before the big homecoming performance. And I'll release just the interview as a separate video as well. Probably do that next Thursday. So, but anyway, let's get to it. Here is our interview with Miles Balley.
All right, we're welcome to join Miles Balley with us on the Attack the Rack, former player of ours from Granville High School, who now makes his home down in Nashville. Miles, glad to have you, man.
Yeah, I'm super excited to be doing this with you guys. I've had a busy day, so I've been looking forward to this, and appreciate you guys having me on. I'm a big fan of your stuff here.
Well, we appreciate it. I got to add, so this is kind of crazy because I was just thinking about this on my drive over. 2 former players of mine have gotten into music that I really didn't know as players were into the music, and whether you picked that up later or not, but you're probably really the first player we've had back on, Curt, of ours. So even though you're probably one of the younger ones, you're definitely the first ex-player of ours that we've had on the Attack the Rack. So we are excited to just kind of chat with you about what got you into everything that you're doing and following your dreams and goals. And it should be a good conversation.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. You want me to just kind of go into that right now?
Well, hey, from talking to you, before we got started here, Miles, you had mentioned, busy day. I think one question I have is what is, and we should mention too, Miles is a country music aspiring artist, having a lot of success early on in his career. Which is what we're going to talk about today. But again, you talked about having a busy day. One thing I've been curious to know is kind of like what your days look like. And you had quite an interesting day leading into the interview here tonight, and then leading into tomorrow. So why don't you start with tell us about your day?
Yeah, I guess that's good. That's a loaded question. This is good. You're good at what you do. Um, no, so today was like a little bit out of the norm for me, just in terms of everything I did. But I got up around 10 something, kind of got moving. And I had a gig downtown Nashville, just off Broadway. There's this bar I play, kind of my main bar that I'm playing at right now, a little venue called Big Jimmy's. It's like a little burger joint. And they do live music in the window and just a small like divey bar down there, and I love it. But I started my day there, played from 12 to 3, and then snagged me a Jimmy John's sandwich, number 9. I think it's the Italian nightclub. That's my choice. If anybody,
the go-to.
yeah, that's the go-to for me. And then yeah, picked up some food and kind of hauled ass, quite honestly, to the studio out in Mount Juliet is where it is. It's like a neighboring surrounding city. Not too far out. I mean, it's probably a little, 30 minute car ride. So I got out of there after my show and was in the studio at about 4 o'clock working on this big new project. It's going to be my debut album. I'm super excited about it. But yeah, so then that's just been crazy. So I was at the studio from about 4 till, I don't know, Coach, when I text you when I got home, probably like 8:15, some, 4.5 hours I was there. And then got home, and now I just packed up for Phoenix. I leave in the morning really early for to play some shows out west, and stoked about that. But yeah, that's kind of my day right now. To answer the back half of that question is 3-hour sets, probably 4 to 5 times a week right now is my pretty natural schedule.
What so obviously we chat a little bit on text there, Miles. Obviously, so I thought you were kind of like practicing, but you had a true gig from like a 3-hour gig that you were actually playing live. Let's get it going.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was this morning, I guess, 12 to 3. I was telling Coach before we all hopped on this too, but it's just crazy down here. I mean, it was a Thursday, middle of the week, 12 to 3. You think that's kind of like a throwaway slot, and that bar was full 20 minutes after I started. It's just crazy down here. Every day's a Saturday. Wild.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So I guess the first question is was this something like the music stuff? Was that something that was always in the back of your mind, something you wanted to get into? Because I guess I'll say as like your head coach,
yeah,
maybe I didn't know you even like were like maybe playing music or into music. So give us a little background there.
Yeah, so that's kind of funny you asked that, because this is all kind of later on. I was in the normal like symphonic winds band and did percussion, played the drums, and then I played in jazz 2 throughout all 4 years of high school. I loved jazz band. I was always a drummer, but I never sang. I never played guitar. I didn't, honestly, still trying to become comfortable singing in front of people. That's kind of been we can get into that a little later, but so I had some music knowledge. I was musically inclined. I played the drums. I knew how to like read a little bit of music. I don't know. I started playing the guitar during COVID. So we graduated in 2020, me and my class, which you guys all know, you both know very well, at least from the hoops players and some of the athletes. So we didn't get our senior year of baseball. And so with all that downtime in Michigan being a lockdown state, quarantine, my dad was like, hey, I got an old wedding gift. It was it's a guitar. I never learned how to play it. Kind of like a stop bugging me type thing, because we're in the same house all the time.
Here's something to do. Here's something else to do, man.
So I did. I stopped bothering my dad and went up into my mom and dad's closet way in the back, like a movie scene. I had to like dust it off. It's just an old guitar. I brought it to the basement and I hopped on YouTube and I just kind of self-taught myself the guitar. And then from there, to kind of answer this question a little better, I started playing Eric Church songs, really, because Zach Summers, my best friend, he loves Eric Church. So he'd be like, learn this, learn that, learn this, learn that. And I would just learn these songs on YouTube. And eventually I started writing my own. And then all my happy college buddies were like, you got to move to Nashville. So it really was not a plan for me. But I think, that sometimes in life, that's where the best things come to be. They're just organic and they're just, out of the blue kind of.
Oh, what was it that, I mean, you just mentioned Zach encouraging you to play his favorite artist, but outside of that, or was that what drew you kind of to migrate towards making and playing country music?
Yeah, that was kind of it. I think when people think acoustic guitar, they hear a lot of that country background anyway. It's not like I'm going to pick up an acoustic guitar and just start shredding AC/DC or Motley Crue or something,
Yeah.
But yeah, so just kind of, I guess, by habit, it was like, oh, acoustic guitar, what are the top 10 campfire acoustic guitar songs to learn? And it's all these country songs, old country, new country. And so, yeah, kind of just by the nature of the beast, it became a thing. Because I wasn't into country music. Zach was. He'll be the first to tell you. I used to rip him for that. I was listening to Drake and Kanye and all this garbage. Like, it's not garbage. I don't want to say that.
Easy now. Yeah. We got a big crowd. We got a big crowd listening here. Be careful.
Hey, listen, I love that stuff. I still love it. When the Lions come on, it's all Eminem, it's Big Sean, it's all that good stuff. Time and a place, but yeah, you're not gonna catch me trying to hop on an LP and start making raps or anything. But yeah, just kind of the way it is with the acoustic guitar. So then from there, got into country, and then when I started kind of messing around trying to make my own songs, it just came out that way. Country-ish.
Yeah. All right, hey, let's take a quick break from the interview with Miles. We're about halfway through the program. You know what that means, Big Mo. It's time for our halftime adjustment, where we each give an adjustment needed from this past week. Our halftime adjustment is brought to you by Ryan Kruitoff. Ryan Kruitoff has been in real estate for over 20 years, and he can help you with all your real estate needs. Realtor Ryan has helped me in my journey in learning more about real estate, and he can do the same for you. Whether you're looking to sell a home, buy a home, maybe you want to get into the rental property business, ring Realtor Ryan. All right, Big Mo, let's get right to it here so we can get back to our interview with Miles. What is your adjustment for the week?
My adjustment is going to be Michigan football.
Okay.
I'm going because it's a big game today or Saturday.
Yeah.
Coach Moore, give the ball to your backs. Mullins, Edwards, all day long. That's what Michigan football is, has been, and will continue to be. Trust them. And hopefully that'll open some lanes and some easy throws for Mr. Orgy. So Michigan football, get back to the ground game, pound and ground, 3 yards in a cloud of dust. Trust the process. Here we go.
Yeah, so obviously Alex Orgy named the starter for this week 3 against USC. Big Mo's been big on, if you watched the previous podcast or our daily lineup shows when we've talked about Michigan football, Big Mo wants to see them run the ball more. That it seems to be their strength on offense, Big Mo. But what happens when the defense adjusts and just starts stacking the box, forcing whether it ends up still being Orgy or maybe back to Davis Warren at some point?
You know what, Kurt? This shouldn't matter. 3 yards. You only need 3 yards every play, and that's trust the diagram left by Coach Harbaugh.
Yeah,
just pound.
You got 2 really great backs. You should be able to do that. I think they did do that a little bit more against Arkansas State. I forget now what they combined for 30.
It was definitely a little easier against Arkansas State. But I think even if you do that, it opens up some play action stuff that we haven't seen enough of. I thought that was another strength for the last forever for Michigan football.
Yes.
Play action, get the tight end in some type of short route. So I think hopefully, let's get back to it. Come on, trust.
Yep. Hey, my adjustment for the week is it's time for us to start getting some cooler temperatures, Big Mo. We're approaching the second half of September, and I understand September can still be a hot month, but we've had temperatures mid-80s lately. I'd like to see an adjustment back down to maybe getting those temperatures down to the low 70s, upper 60s here as we approach the
A little Michigan fall weather, Curt, huh?
yes. I'm not saying it's got to get down to like 50s yet, but
Yeah.
see, we're what, September 21 here on Saturday. That's time where we start getting maybe into the highs into the low 70s, upper 60s. So my
Everybody's waiting to be able to throw on their sweatpants and sweatshirts and just be a little more comfortable.
yeah, and obviously you and I, our wardrobes don't change much. We still wear shorts and maybe some long sleeve tops, but yeah, it's time. It's time, Big Mo. It's time to get some cooler temperatures, not having to crank that AC so much, and yeah, it's time. So
Yeah, maybe Miss Weather will listen to you.
I hope so. All right, let's jump back into our interview with Miles Balley.
For you, what is the process? Look, you've got some of your own music, obviously. What's that process look like for you to kind of create your own song?
Yeah. So honestly, Coach Klingler, it's poetry. It's poetry. That's what it is. I'll open the Notes app on my iPhone, and I'll just write a poem, and I'll put the melody and I'll find a chord progression afterwards. But if I'm writing heartbreak, I'm going into it. I'm getting detail. I'm trying to make the song. You feel it more than you just hear words that rhyme. And so it could be anything. I mean, I'll be sitting at these writers' rounds watching other musicians down here in Nashville and get inspired, or like I'll wake up from a dream and I'll have this big epiphany and I'll be like, I got to write that down and throw that in a song, or just everyday life.
Really more you're putting the words down first, and then you're going to find the melody and the connection later on.
Absolutely.
And then also, so it's not more like you're like, all right, it's time for me to write a song, and then you sit down and write it. It's just kind of as it hits you.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so funny you say that too, because some people down here, they're just workhorses and this is their job and they're full-time writers. Like, I don't know if you guys knew this, but Chris Stapleton, I'm sure you know some of his stuff. He has an amazing voice, but he wrote for the longest time. Like, he's written songs that you would know for other people for the last, decades. And then he got into singing. But like some people, they can just be like, hey, like they'll hit me up and be like, hey, you want to do a co-write at 10 at night on Friday? I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to be inspired at 10 p.m. on Friday. Like, it doesn't work for then they'll sit down and just be like, yeah, I'm feeling good tonight.
They got it. Yeah.
The whole song. I can't do that. So
what's before we got on sometime today, I watched your one day video. Probably a lot of people's dream maybe is to either be in a video or like coordinate a video. So what's that process look like, even just doing a video shoot like that?
That was funny because the inside scoop, I hate that song now because the reason I've left it up, I've pulled a lot of projects off Spotify and Apple Music and YouTube throughout the years of growth. But that was my first ever song. I recorded it at Michigan State University. And I think it really, when you listen to something now like Forever and Always or Middle of Nowhere, Money on You, something like that, you can really see the growth. And I think that's why I've left that up there. But the video is cool. So I don't know when we posted that, but that was some of Trent's college roommates were into videography, and that's what they're doing.
Because that was more up north where you shot it, or was it in the Lansing area?
We shot that music video in Hemlock, Michigan, kind of near Saginaw.
Okay.
So that was cool, but I'd love to get into some more of that because music videos are sweet. They feel kind of awkward because the way that works is like they'll put the song on a speaker and there's like people driving by and walking by and you're like lip syncing and you feel really weird, and then you look back at these like slow-mo shots and the B-roll and it all comes together and it's like that's pretty cool. So I would love to do another one of those, but I love making the music videos. I love watching them. I don't like making them. So.
I did always kind of wonder how that all works. Like are they lips? I mean, are they lip syncing or are they singing? And then afterwards you got to go back and try to match as your mouth is moving to the track. I mean, I'm sure it's quite a process behind the scenes afterwards with the editing and stuff.
Yeah, that's got to be tedious, right? I mean, that's not my thing, but you could ask George Benjamin. He'll tell you.
Hey, so it's kind of funny you mentioned you used to get on Zach about being a country music fan. I think I'm not really a country music fan, and Coach Klingler kind of was, and kind of the same thing. I would kind of give him a tough time about being into the country music. So that kind of a similar situation there. But I will say this. I was telling you before we got on here about, I think it was probably now, it's been about, probably, wow, it's probably been about 14 years ago. I actually did spend a couple of days in Nashville. I was down there. My cousin was playing in the Houston Astros minor league system, and they played against the Nashville Sounds, which is like an iconic minor league team. But anyway, so we were down there for a couple of days, and I had the best time, like you just walk down the street, it's bar after bar after bar, live band, live band, live band. So I guess I'd be curious. You already mentioned today playing from 12 to 3 in the middle of the day on a Thursday, how the energy was, but overall, tell us a little bit more about what the energy is like there in Nashville, and maybe how what brought you to Nashville? Is it just because that's like where you want to be if you're doing country music, and then, what's the energy like in that town?
Yeah, that's a good question. Music City's super fun, right? That's what everybody's known for, is the country music capital of the world. You got the Country Music Hall of Fame, Johnny Cash Museum, the Ryman, Grand Ole Opry. There's not a short of anything music out here, just like really for all genres, but
Okay.
there's just so many talented musicians, to your point of bar after bar after bar, every venue, like people are just numb to it out here because everybody you see is just so talented. I think that's been good for me because I've only been playing and guitar and singing for 4 years now. So like I'm so new to it. Everybody I see, I'm like talking to them after gigs, picking their brain, trying to, how do you do this? How do you get better at this? And it's just a really special place. If I wasn't a musician, I don't know how much I'd want to live out here because I do miss like lakes and cottages and being surrounded by water and all that. But yeah, it's a just a great place to be for the music. And then yeah, if you're gonna vacation here, weekends probably plenty. It's a fun
just
city.
enough, right? A couple days.
Yeah, a couple days is probably plenty. But if you're out here, come see me.
Big Mo, we should definitely try to do that next spring.
That would be. I've been to Nashville once, but I didn't stay downtown because I think I was just traveling through. Spent the night and then took off right away. So, we should try to hook that up next spring, next summer.
Yeah. Maybe around March Madness.
Ooh.
Yeah. So the SEC tournament is right there at Bridgestone, right downtown. Yeah. And so everybody comes in. You got to know everybody's fight song. You got to at least, get them going with it a cappella because in comes, everybody. Alabama, Ole Miss, Tennessee.
Well, you got to get the crowd on your side, right? You got to know who you're playing for, right?
Exactly. And during that time of year, it's tough because everybody's a fan of everybody,
Hey, so this is probably a two-part question a little bit. Obviously, you've been back into the Grand Rapids at least once playing in the Granville area. How was that?
That was awesome. I want to just do this justice. I'm just going to tell you guys what people told me because I was up there. I was on stage for 3 hours. But I played at Ironwood Barn Grill, kind of Standale area. It was awesome. I'd probably promoted it for like a month. I was like, it's just an acoustic set, no full band, nothing crazy. And when I walked in the door, I was like an hour and a half early, like just trying to make sure I get the lay of the land. And the place was already full. I'm seeing people that are wearing my face on their shirt, and I'm like, I don't even know who that is. It was an awesome experience, but it was kind of like sink or swim time. I was thrown into the fire. I was like, I'll have a chance to like calm these nerves and get ready to just treat it like a normal gig, but it's just not when you're in your hometown, you know?
Yeah.
And so to answer that, I mean, I heard, you know, there was a waitress that night who ended up quitting on the job because we were a couple hundred people over capacity. I do know this for a fact that the bar did run out of beer. We ran out of Miller Lite, which was crazy. But like I said, don't fact check me on all this. You know, this is what I've heard from everyone else. But it was an awesome night. Just
all in all, your people came out and supported the smack out of you, which is amazing, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So to lead into that, I guess then the next part is obviously you're going to be back in Granville. Get to play a little bit at the Granville High School homecoming pregame festivities before the football game. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so that's kind of fun too, like just kind of a fun opportunity that got thrown my way. And I'm super excited about it. It's always fun coming home because you get to play in front of familiar faces rather than, you know, everybody down here at every show is a tourist. Like even today, I was asking people, where are you from? Oh, Southern California. Where are you from? England. You know, you got people from all over the country and all over the world. So just to be able to play in front of familiar faces is always fun. And Trent, my brother, is going to be playing the bass guitar. And Colton, my drummer, he's going to be flying in. But we're only going to have probably like 2-3 hours of rehearsal time on like Friday.
Hey.
So it's
plenty of time for professionals like you guys.
Yeah. It's going to be a little thrown together, but we're super excited, and I don't think it'll be anything short of a good time.
Yeah, definitely.
Where, like, if for people that want to come, that are coming to the game, or they want to come and watch you play there, where and what time will you be playing?
Yeah, so I will be playing kind of outside the library, like in that grassy area. We're going to be setting up a little stage there, and that's going to start around 4:30. I'll be going on around 4:30. I'll probably be there earlier than that to be doing sound check and stuff. So
Okay.
if you want to come early and you want to hang out or something, I'll be there. But I'll be there around 4-ish.
Hey, we're there. Please help me.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, Miles, can't thank you enough for taking some time out of your busy schedule to hang out with us old coaches here and you know, fill us on what's going on in your life. And sounds amazing. Been following from afar. You know, huge congratulations to you on all your success, and you know, you're sounds like you're well on your way to making a nice career out of this. But before we let you go, one thing that, as we call him on the program here, Big Mo and I do throughout our podcast, we have a couple, 2-3 segments. One of those segments being our top three, our favorite three. And this week, and being that we have you on the program here, we'd love for you to join us in this. We know you're a huge Detroit Lions fan. Not such a great game on Sunday. Started out the season here 1-1 with playing Arizona this week, which will be a tough game. But our top three this week is our top three, and I guess more so favorite three. So when you hear top three, maybe you think the best three, but we want to go favorite three Detroit Lions of all time. We'll start with you. We'll go one at a time until we've each given our three favorite Detroit Lions. Miles, you are up first.
Ever of all time?
Of all time.
All time, baby.
I think,
hold on. One rule. One rule. Barry Sanders excluded. We can't say Barry Sanders. It's got to be other than Barry Sanders.
I was gonna say timeout because you know all three of us are. Right. I'm gonna say that.
I thought we were gonna give Miles the Barry Sanders. Okay, you can take the top dog, but okay, I like that we're pulling it away from him.
No,
yeah. That's too obvious.
You can pull that away from me. Number one, I'm just gonna get this out of the way, and I don't like this pick necessarily anymore. But my childhood hero, you know, I got to go with Matthew Stafford.
Fair enough.
I'll say that's 3. I'll put that at 3.
That's good. hey, he had an amazing career in Detroit, and you know, most Detroiters are probably glad he got a chance to win the Super Bowl, right? So, do I get to go next, Curt?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, probably. I don't know, Miles. Before your time, maybe. Chris Spielman, linebacker. from that school down south a little bit, but we still love him, Chris Spielman.
Yeah, good one. Good one. I think maybe all of ours might be a little, or at least mine might be a little before your time, Miles. I'm going to go my first one, wide receiver Herman Moore. One of my definite favorite players of all time, and certainly favorite Detroit Lion of all time.
Those are both great picks. I know they're ahead of my time, but you guys know the Balley boys. We're all just diehards. I know everything about the history. I've rolled. So for two, if we're all going old school, I'll take Lomas Brown, little tackle.
Oh,
Nice.
The reason I say that too, if you guys watched that Bye Bye Barry documentary,
yes,
it was awesome. Gave us some closure. Obviously,
Yeah.
that's funny probably to hear me say at 23 that it's like, oh, he got closure. But you know, Barry kind of talked about that too. You know, like he loved running behind Lomas, and I think that's cool. So, and he's still really affiliated with the team now, so I love that.
Right. Yeah, he is.
I like it. I like it. Good pick.
That's a good one.
I'm going Mel Gray, specialist kick returner. / I think he was like a car salesman or something like that. I forget he did some type of commercial with a car salesman. I always stuck in my head. So Mel Gray,
Yeah,
amazing
that's a
kick
good one.
returner, punt returner for the Lions.
That's a good one too. It seemed like he brought one back for a touchdown
Oh,
almost every game. Obviously, he didn't, but that's what it seemed like.
it did feel like that. It did feel like that.
All right, I'll go. I'm going to go Jerry Ball, who was, I think, a nose tackle. One thing I loved about him, and Miles, this video game is before your time too. There's a video game called Tecmo Super Bowl. In my opinion, the greatest video game ever created. Definitely the best sports game ever created. And with Jerry Ball, you could almost get a sack, at least against when you're playing the computer, every time. You just got to hit down and A, and you just got to slide.
You got to get the angle right. You had to get the angle right.
Yes.
But if you timed it right, it was like 10 sacks a game. Easy for the big dog.
Yeah. So Aiden Hutchinson on Sunday had 4.5 or 5 sacks, something like that. You can do that in a quarter with Jerry Ball on Tecmo Bowl. So Jerry Ball, that's my second one.
Okay. All right. So this is important here because I know you guys still have one last one after me. And I don't want to be the three guys here talking sports that fade Billy Sims because he's the forgotten running back number 20.
Yeah.
Like so much of me, you know, we're all naming these fun B-listers too. Like I've got those like there's a million guys I could say. Plus like St. Brown and Laporta, like right now, Hutchinson, Kirby Joseph. I obviously love this team. But I think I gotta say Billy Sims because we can't leave him off this list. You know, he's the second best Lions running back ever.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I'm gonna throw it new school because I mean we've talked about it. And me and Curt had a little discussion earlier. I don't think the name came up, but Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah.
Like that dude is a beast.
Yeah.
And if he was in a Temple Bowl, he'd be having like 20 sacks a game.
Yeah, dude.
Come on now.
Modern day Tecmo Bowl.
To be fair, part of the reason you could get all those sacks with Jerry Ball is because he was playing the nose tackle.
True. But yeah, you can always slide him down.
Yeah.
Adjust the lineup, Curt. You got to adjust the lineup. I got a special throw out here. I know Curt's not going to pick this guy.
Yeah.
Charlie Sanders. Just happened to meet him a couple times and became a friend of an organization that I help run. I'm going to put him just a little special shout out to him. No longer with us, but amazing individual, super awesome, nice guy, and was willing to do whatever to help like out these different nonprofits that he worked with. So shout out to Charlie Sanders, a special Lions. Curt, last one.
Yeah, and I did, Miles, I agree with you. I love this team we've got right now. I love a ton of the players, but I think some of them are a little bit too new, and so I wanted to pick players maybe that had more of a longer career. Like right now, Jahmyr Gibbs is like my favorite current player. But obviously Aiden Hutchinson too. So I'm gonna go Benny Blades, who I just was talking to Big Mo about Benny Blades earlier today. And what I learned, I never played football. I love football. I love watching football. Probably my favorite sport to watch. 28 years in the same fantasy football league. Just it's my thing. I love it. But I really don't know and never really necessarily learned all the X's and O's and things like that. I learned today. So I knew Benny Blades played safety, and Big Mo today, we were talking about this, referred to him as a defensive back. I've always thought until today that cornerbacks and defensive backs, that was an interchangeable term, that they were the same position. What I learned today is that defensive backs actually is more of an umbrella term for the corners and the safeties. So
nice. You learn something new every day.
You do. Right? I never.
If you're not learning, you're not growing, man.
Exactly.
And we gotta say, we have to just do this honorable mention to like save my butt for when all my friends watch this or whatever, because none of us said Calvin Johnson. Obviously, that's a big one.
That is.
We didn't say Calvin. We didn't say Golden Tate, Reggie Bush, any of these guys from like the more recent time.
For sure.
Trent loved Joik Bell. He had a jersey when he was playing. You guys remember that name?
Yeah. Didn't he play? Was Joik Bell a D2? Did he play Wayne State maybe? Or no?
I think he did.
I think you're right.
I know for sure he was a security guard at Ford Field.
Before he played.
Yeah. Crazy.
Oh, that's awesome.
I gotta throw an honorable mention. This is probably might be before Miles' time, and it's an old school again. Me and Curt are old, Miles. We're way back. Robert Porcher.
Oh yes.
Woo! I mean, he was like Aiden Hutchins before Aiden Hutchins.
Yeah. And then here, I'll throw out an old school honorable mention too. Brett Perryman.
Oh yeah.
I mean, think about how good. I mean, wasn't
Give him the U, baby.
Yeah. You had Herman Moore, Brett Perryman, Johnny Morton, Barry Sanders. Oh, if they would have had Matthew Stafford or Jared Goff as a quarterback, holy cats.
And who was the quarterback at that time? That's the real question.
Well, I mean, Rodney Peete for the most part. And then
maybe a little Scotty? Maybe a little Scotty Mitchell?
Yeah, then Scott Mitchell, yeah.
Listen, this is funny you guys are talking about this, quarterbacks in specific, because it was a revolving door, right? We had all these guys throughout the years. Early 2000s here, I had his jersey. I found this at this little sports shop. This is a Joey Harrington. Little piece of memorabilia, little Joey Blue Skies.
Man. Disappointed all of us.
Hey, great guy, though. Great human
being. Nice guy.
Great human being.
You probably missed so many. I'm just thinking in my head right now. I'm just like,
there are a ton.
Oh, Charlie Batch. And then think about guys like Dante Culpepper literally played for the Detroit Lions for a minute.
So did Adrian Peterson.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey, by the way, did you hear Adrian Peterson is broke?
Oh, really?
Yeah, seriously.
Well, I mean,
remember to hear first.
Yeah, craziness.
Breaking news on the Attack the Rack podcast. Adrian Peterson broke, but as we know, I mean, what's the stat? Like 75% of NFL players 3 years after they retire are broke.
That is true. Hey, Luther Ellis.
Yeah, there you go.
Man, there were some greats. There have been some greats that have played for the Honolulu Blue.
Johnny Morton.
Hey, Jason Hanson.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we brought him up earlier.
Yeah.
Eddie Murray. Did we leave that out? Yeah, Steady Eddie. That was way before my time. That was my dad.
Two of the best kickers in NFL history have come through the lines. Come on.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
That's a good old timer. I like that, Miles.
All right. Well, hey, Miles, one thing too, and I know I gave you a heads up on this so you can prepare for this, but you got to send us out here with a Coach Klingler story.
Oh, jeez.
I've got so many. This is my favorite question.
This is one thing I would love to do is start bringing back some of the old players on the podcast here and let them give a Coach Klingler story.
Can I leave?
No, you have to sit through this. This is good. No, there's so many. I'm not sure how many I can tell on here, but
Yeah, seriously.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, one of my favorite ones, this is from like a real coaching perspective too. When you're 18, 17 years old, junior, senior in high school, you really don't process it this way. Like I was just like, I'm a good hoops player. This is how it goes. So I'm playing for Mike Van Hecken, the other coach Van Hecken. JV year, was doing a lot more baseball at that point, so I wasn't totally into hoops mode. My hair was way too long. I was in my prime. And we had this game against East Kentwood. I hit like 6 threes. So I had like 20.
I remember that.
And I was just on fire. I couldn't miss. And I like walked to school the next day and I was just like untouchable. Everyone's talking to me. I was on the morning announcements. I'm like, oh. And so here's what happened. So like the next day was probably like Friday or something. Anyway, I know the varsity team had a game that Friday. And Coach Klingler, you pulled me into your office, and I'm like, this is it. This is my time. I'm going to be a starter for the next 2 years. I'm going D1. You know, I was untouchable. I hit all these threes. You pull me into your office, and you have the huddle pulled up. So you got all the film. And I'm like, this is my moment where he's like, you had marquee points for every shot I hit. All 23 points accounted for. And he started walking me through them, and you're like, I think I'm about to get my flowers, right? And you're like, so what do you do on this first play? Like, and it's just me, you know, Zach Cooper bringing the ball up the floor. They hit me on the wing. I just chuck a three and I hit it. But like, I've never seen a shot I don't like, right? And but like, I just love pulling threes. And so we go through this film and coach, it was funny because you were just making more of a coachable point of you're like, I know it felt good. You were like, I know it felt good. You were hitting the shots were falling. But he's like, as you watch this, what do you do to get you or other teammates open? And as he goes through every three I hit, every single one is just 30 feet, just pulling, just hucking the thing. And it was funny because I remember that. You made a good point. You're like, you're not setting screens, you're not running around, but they were falling that day. And that's something.
Oh, man. I'm not sure if that's good or bad coaching. I'm going to be honest.
I think it's good. I think I just remember that specifically because I felt so good. My teammates were so high on that, and then you pulling me into your eye. It's like, oh, you know, I was probably walking with Zach. He's like, oh, he's going into Kling's office. You know, like this is good. He knows. And then I just basically got ripped for not.
And then bam. Hold the chair right out under your. Miles was like, hold the chair. Boom.
Yeah. So then next game, I was probably just running around setting fake screens to look good.
And I was probably pleased, man. I was definitely probably pleased if I didn't tell you.
No, I love it. I have a million stories like that too, just like good times. And, you know, obviously all the bowling parties we did, pizza parties we did. And you and I always, when I'd see you in the hallway by your classroom on my way to lunch, we'd always talk sports and just, you know, it's all good, man.
Yeah. You were, you know, if you've watched a little bit of the show, we joke about my memory sometimes because I forget what I did 10 minutes ago. But I was thinking about today. I was like, Miles is one of those guys. Like you always kept a positive attitude. Like at least to my face, you're probably maybe cursing me under your breath a little bit here and there, but like for the most part, you always brought a positive energy. And again, as a high school coach and high school player and that type of situation, you're always just trying to, you know, you want to enjoy it, you want to have fun, and we hope to make a difference. And again, it's amazing to like watch, just watch your progression, you know, from a 16, 17-year-old to do what you're doing now, chasing what you want. It's amazing. And as a coach, a teacher, it makes our day. So appreciate that part of it.
Yeah, I appreciate that from you, Coach, too. I wanted to just hit on one thing about that, too, because that's not just me. This is not me just talking about myself here. This is just, you know, I think it's important that you guys get those reminders, both you guys, you know, Coach Stiegel, Coach Cook, whoever it might be, even Coach Clark when I was really young. He was still coaching baseball. Like, when you're that age, you just think the world is sports and you got high school girlfriends and just whatever it is, what it is. But, you know, in the grand scheme, you don't know it at that age, but you guys as coaches do. And it's like you were trying to put us on a right path to be good young men and good people. And I think, you know, looking back on that, it's kind of cool, like a coming of age moment when I get to like talk to you guys or, you know, when I still say Mrs. and Mr. Van Hecken and the Kleinhexels came down here just to be able to talk to them as adults and just like, it just makes more sense and you just get it and you think back on these old memories and it's like, it all works out. So I just hope you guys, you know that too. You know, Coach, you were always doing the dribbling drills with us, Coach Van Hecken. We were always, you know, pound them. You do the warm up with us and everything. That reminded me, I had one other short story, just real quick.
Yeah. Keep them
Coach,
coming.
I don't remember the specific, like, complete detail, but we were doing some drill. And Coach Klingler, you're kind of hopping in. You would play pickup with us and stuff. And we're doing this drill, and we're all, like, lining up for it one at a time. And I was wearing these Kobe 9s that were, like, they came up to your, like, mid-calf, like, mid-shin. I thought they were cool, but the traction was terrible. And, you know, at this point, at this stage in the game, too, I was just trying to look cool. I think I was a junior. And so we're running around doing this drill, and it's my time to go. And it's like kind of like starts off like a suicide, like you're touching the line, and then coach will dish you the ball, and then you try to like go finish, and you'd smack us with those big things.
Little pads or something like that.
Yeah, I'm ready to get like the contact because we're all practicing finishing through contact, and I'm ready to get the contact. And before I can even get that far, I like tripped over my own feet, landed on the ball, and then like the whole gym just went silent. And I just like got up and finished. Like I'm just trying to like hustle, right? Just get some grind points. And we all had a good laugh about that. Like I remember that so well. That was Coach, you, me, Zach, Cooper, Jaden, Corey, TJ, Landon, you know, just all our hoops guys. And they're like, dude, this guy just fell down and just got up like it was nothing. But it hurt. I'm not gonna lie, it hurt.
Oh, that's great. I love it. I love it. Well, again, Miles, thank you so much for spending some time with us. Hey, you know, one thing I've noticed too is like, you know, again, watching from afar, just kind of keeping tabs via social media, how much love and support that you have on your social media, people supporting you. Why don't you let us know before we go here where people can find you on social media? They can follow where you're playing, when you release new music, YouTube stuff. Where can people find you online?
Yeah, so Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube, that's all just gonna be my name, Miles, and then Balley, Balley, like Valley with a B. Instagram and Facebook, TikTok, some of those handles, those you have to have an underscore in there, so it's just Miles_Balley for all those, and that's where you can kind of find me and keep up to date with the whole dream chasing thing that we're doing.
Awesome. Awesome, man. Well, hey, thanks a lot. And good luck with heading to Phoenix tomorrow and playing those shows. And then, yeah, it should be a great time next Friday night coming back home, playing at homecoming.
Yeah, I'll see you guys in a week. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
All right, sounds good.
Awesome.
All right, Big Mo. What a great interview with Miles Balley. I would say that was a winning interview. Excited for Miles. Congratulations, Miles, on all the success you've had thus far. We'll look forward to following you as you continue to advance in your country music career. And don't forget, you can see Miles play live Friday, September the 27th, before the homecoming football game at Granville High School. Again, winning interview, another winning episode of the Attack the Rack podcast, Big Mo. We got to wrap this thing up in honor of another win for us with our winner of the week. Winner of the week, Big Mo. What do you got?
You know, I'm going. I've had to change out my Wi-Fi connection this week. So a little shout out to T-Mobile on West Shore Drive in Holland.
Is this a paid promotion?
Was it? No. Well, we're looking for one though. I had one of the first T-Mobile boxes that when they first introduced those. It was like 4 years old, so they actually couldn't even find the SKU to replace it and all that. So shout out to the help out at that T-Mobile. Just great customer service.
All right.
Great people out there. Appreciate it, and they got it up and running so we can do the show today.
Yeah. You know, and you continue, Big Mo, with your adjustments of the week, your winners of the week. A lot of them do kind of focus around things that do involve customer service or products, and things like that. And so it sounds like you had a great experience this time. Sometimes your adjustment of the week focuses around some of those issues or some of those situations needing to be improved.
No adjustment for T-Mobile out at West Shore Drive.
All right. So instead, they are your winner of the week. Hey, my winner of the week, I mean, Detroit Tigers. Now, again, we're recording this on Thursday. They are just a half a game out of that last wild card spot. They have an off day today. If the Minnesota Twins lose to the Cleveland Guardians tonight, they will be tied with the Twins for that last wild card spot. But hey, my winner of the week, pitcher for the Detroit Tigers, Tarek Skubal. This dude has been unreal. He has a legitimate shot at actually winning the Cy Young. Currently, his record is 17-3. 17-4. Sorry, most wins in the league. He also has, I believe, the second best WHIP in the league. He's got the second lowest ERA at 2.48, and he's leading the league in strikeouts with 221. So absolutely phenomenal season for him. Legitimate shot at the Cy Young. So Tarek Skubal, you are my winner of the week, and we are rooting for the Detroit Tigers, Big Mo. How awesome would that be if we get the Detroit Tigers playing some playoff baseball this year?
That'd be pretty fun, right? At least for you baseball fans out there.
Well, you can see what a fan I am. I struggle to pronounce Tariq name. But anyway, let's get out of here, Big Mo. Great episode today. Great interview with Miles. And again, we will release that interview only probably, at least probably next Thursday, leading into his homecoming performance. Anything else, Big Mo? Anything we missed? Anything we got to do better at? Any mistakes that we made?
No, always nice to talk to a former player and see them kind of chasing their dreams and goals. So a shout out to Miles again for joining us, and have a great rest of your Saturday.
Yeah, and also if you have not subscribed yet, I'm sure we've got a lot of new viewers here. Thanks to Miles. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. That helps us a ton. Simple subscribe, like the video. That stuff triggers the YouTube algorithm and gets this content out to more people. So please help us out with a quick subscribe. It's easy, it's free, it takes you a half a second. Same with giving it a like. All right, we'll get you out of here with the Big Mo Motivational Minute.
Big Mo's Motivational Minute. After that great time interviewing Miles Balley, happened to catch a post also by a former player just about completing an Ironman and kind of fighting through some medical health issues. Just to see those two former players kind of just chasing goals and doing tough things. Just inspirational to see sometimes. So go out there, do tough stuff, chase what you want, do something demanding. Takes a little bit of discipline, but you can do it. It's worth it. Not easy, but the rewards are 100-fold. We'll talk to you later. See ya.